Wait, what was the plan again? I'm just teasing. I'm good.
It's all good. All right. Introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the On the Bubble podcast. Today, let me redo that because I couldn't say it. Podcast. Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. All right. Round 2. Yeah, that'll be a clip.
Nice.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
No,
I literally do like 20 clips before I get what I need right for my content. So I feel this 100%. We're good.
Oh, no, we're just keeping this in. But yeah, so this is On the Bubble podcast. And we're just out here having fun with the Rocket League speedrunning community. We have Plum and Aqua on today. That scuffed intro will be definitely kept in.
Should you say your full names? Should you say your full names? Because like there is a professional Aqua, and I'm not him.
Oh
yeah, that is true actually.
Yeah, so why don't you guys introduce yourselves by your full nicknames instead of me just by cutting them in half?
I'm Plumato. I basically been with the website running the leaderboards since like I want to say 2016. So about a year after the game came out. I want to say late 2016, early 2017. I really started to get into it, and then recently in the last year brought here our other host or guest, Aquatavius. You want to go ahead?
Hello, I'm Aquatavius. I am a person in the speedrunning community, and I like going fast. Is that good?
Yes, that's very good. So how fast do you like going? Yeah.
World record fast.
World record fast. So I take it you hold some world records?
Yes, I do.
Ooh, what do you hold?
I hold the free play world records. It's a new category suggested by one of our very own Sinestro, who used to be the world record holder of the tutorial category. Because I always miss the boost pad, and if you guys too, you should definitely try running it because it'll help you improve greatly by knowing where the boost pads are. And this, just keep it hush hush. I don't still miss boost pads because that totally doesn't happen currently.
Yeah, that totally doesn't happen to me either. Yeah, well, it looks both ways at my teammates. Yeah. But yeah, so what started the Rocket League speedrun community? Like, what was the first thing to be speedrun?
Okay, so this is kind of a fun one. Basically, way back when this page got made, I want to say in like early 2016. A user Jay Chalk, he actually created got like the page submitted and created and all that, and he basically started off with a category for season mode, and then there's categories for each of the different trainings and also exhibition mode. So like scoring as many goals as you can as fast as you can. Originally, when that was coming about, we had another user named Knock. He created this Discord or the Speedrun Discord. He actually set all that up, and I took over everything because I noticed a lot of people were inactive, and I'm like, I'm getting more and more into Rocket League, especially in 2016. I started playing it more, and I'm like, well, I'm super into speedrunning. Let me just take over the whole leaderboards. Just kind of I started adding leaderboards for workshop maps shortly after that. We had a couple of different mods come and go. Gogby is probably the second longest standing moderator. He does everything related to season mode because he's the only person that runs season mode.
And we did a co-op once.
Okay, you did do a co-op.
It was the greatest thing ever.
What did you do, to parsec or something?
It's literally you have to wait the whole 5-minute match just to score a goal right at 0 seconds to try to skip to the next map. And there's a cool trick to actually trigger the next match in the series because you have to play 11 games. And so yeah, it's like an hour-long run of just waiting there doing nothing. And when you have two goofy goons in an hour together doing nothing, in the way we set up the co-op is, I forgot what you call it, but I basically like linked into his like system.
Steam has it built in where you can do that, but I'm assuming you probably use Parsec.
Yeah, it's either Parsec
whatever
or
it was.
Hamachi, I think, is the other one.
No, Hamachi you can't remote in.
Yeah, I was remoted into like his PC. So we were playing like split screen on his computer, and my latency was like 500. And so it was just the most unwatchably entertaining speedrun I've ever done.
So it was only slightly worse than standard Rocket League servers.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, so Aqua, what outside of that, do you hold any other speedruns or?
Where I got introduced, this is, I guess, like an origin question for me. So when I got introduced into speedrunning, it was actually before I knew like speedrunning was a thing. Especially like in the Rocket League community, I didn't really consider it at the time. And being a diamond, I get stubborn in ranked, and I'm like, man, I can't learn. So let me just like get away from that toxicity and just chill in a workshop map. And the map of my choice was the Dribble Challenge 2. And it was just me and the ball, and I loved it. It was just a nice open space environment, and I could just chill and do what I want. And so over the course of 3 years, I finally am top 5, and I'm shooting for top 3 soon, which is a sub 6-minute run. Only 2 people have, and they're both French, Alexit and K-Dop, and we all know and love K-Dop. So yeah, it's some high competition out there. It's extremely entertaining and fun to check out. So Dribble Challenge 2 is where it all started for me. And then on top of that, I love Mario Kart Wii. And that is relevant because that's what got me into the speedrunning community because for Rocket League. Okay, so
No, you're in the right series of events because I just remember the first thing you're talking about when you messaged me. You're just like, hey, Mario Kart Wii speedruns are like this. I feel like these are how the racing map should go, and you voiced your opinions early, and I had no idea what route to take racing maps at the time, and you had very strong ideas towards it. So I basically kind of slid racing stuff into your side and stuff like that, and I was just like, here's moderator for everything. Just kind of gonna take care of the racing stuff. Like, you got this, man. And then slowly just kind of pushed everything to Aqua Davies. I'm like, look, you can just do everything racing.
I love it though. It's so interesting and cool to just like to play Mario Kart Wii tracks, and some of them aren't specifically from the Wii, but it's just to have that in Rocket League, and then you have a community that can speedrun it, and it's even competitive. It's actually competitive. Is just was just mind blowing to me, and so I was like, I gotta participate in this community, and there's got to be more. And that's when things like Wario's Gold Mine, like Turbo, not Turbo Pulsa, different Turbo, um, completely like destroyed the category. And that kind of caused a little bit of controversy. And in some sense, controversy is good because then you can explore your options. And so I was part of the crew of coming in to explore those options, like Plamato was saying, with like just giving racing stuff over to me because I had my own sense of how that could be handled. And so that introduced like category splits, like 100% classic and any percent, because basically where's the line between, okay, you should be like driving the course, but okay, let's add a couple skips, but then it's like, okay, well, let's just skip a whole bunch. Why don't I just do a circle right around the finish line that takes 2 seconds and call that a speed run? Where's the parameters here for this? And so I've taken on that task to make that happen, to make the racing aspect of it to be more, I guess, official, I suppose.
I'm just gonna say it. Any percent was the absolute worst category to ever become a thing because of that. Oh, look, it's 2 second speed run, and then everybody that would do it would get mad because, oh well, how come it's not this time or whatever? And it's like, well, it's because this is how it's timed. And then it's just like everybody gets upset because they want to have that half a second world record or whatever. So we just kind of said no more any percent period. And now any percent is more of you just cut a lot of corners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yes.
there would be like a couple major checkpoints just so like you're still running the track, but it gives room for you to like go out of bounds, exploit collisions, basically do anything that comes to mind that's creative within the actual geometry of the map itself. And that's what like a lot of people have been wanting to do, but then you have the restriction of, well, okay, someone actually put the effort to make the map. Maybe you should actually kind of like run the whole map. So yeah, there was like a whole split. So originally we were going to split it with 100% like driving it like you're a NASCAR driver, running, driving the actual entire course, and then any percent where you can kind of break it as much as you want. And then for the sake of nostalgia, we just said, hey, we're actually going to redefine the old categories as they were. Just put a couple extra rules in there so that it's clear, and just keep it as classic, so that they can still run it the way they've kind of always been running it before people broke it. And so now you can satisfy all levels of, I want to run it strictly like I'm an actual race car. I want to take some corner skips and all that stuff, but still enjoy the track. And then I just want to break this damn thing and see what I can do. And some of those tricks are like, they're hard to get consistent. And so it each has their own level of talent to it. And I think that's really good to have that diversity. And so even though that was born through like controversy, it has definitely been for the betterment of racing. And there's so many more categories than just racing. I mean, like dribbling, air dribbling, rings, parkour, obstacle courses, like speed jump. I'm sure a lot of people know the classics in that sense. And it's just so wonderful.
Yeah. So, what are the official rules on timing? Because I know that's actually how me and Plamato met. So I used to be the editor for Mizu, the current world record holder, I believe, at least according to
right now.
Yeah, at least according to the map itself.
Trials 4?
No, Speedrun 3.
Yeah, Speedrun
Okay.
3. Because that was he paused in the middle to say, "Chat, hey, I'm gonna break the world record." And if he didn't
No.
pause, he broke the world record, got the first 246 on Speedrun 3. And so I DM'd Plamato about it, just checking about the speedrun. He was like, well, yeah, he kind of did, but according to our official rules, no.
So funny thing regarding pauses. Before, when we had like everything was on one single page, it was just a Rocket League page. We did have like a lot of Dribble Challenge 2 runs, and then there would be like some that have like a pause in the middle. Now, the issue with the pause, theoretically, what could happen is when you pause the game, you could realistically just splice your run at that pause. Now, the likelihood of that happens, I have actually seen it happen where somebody actually cut a chunk of their run because of the pause, just so that they were more thinking of like, oh, I'm just editing the video down so it's easier to watch the whole thing. But it's like, you think about it this way, any other speedrunning speed game, anything else, like for example, let's use Dark Souls. I know Dark Souls you can't actually pause, but let's assume you actually could. If you get like stuck on a boss and you need that mental break, it's like if you pause and then come back and now or you pause just before you fought the boss or whatever and you come back afterwards, like 5 minutes later, and you broke the world record by 5 minutes because you made that pause. It's not really fair to the person who played all the entirety of the time and ended up having a slower time, while realistically in RTA versus in-game time, we use RTA for this reason.
So what is RTA for people who don't know what
So
that is?
yeah, so there's different timing methods. We have RTA, which is real-time attack. That is literally the moment in real time, in real life, the moment you start, and the moment in real life that you end. So like, let's say you started the game, you press start on the map or whatever. If you started time right there, your time would go from there until, let's say, you just completed the map. The time would end at that point. Now, we don't necessarily do that exact timing method. It's just an example to give like load times as well. It's like you load the map and then you get to where you need to go before the timer starts. All of that would be considered in real time attack or time with loads. The way we do real time attack also on the actual maps and stuff, we just start from when the timer starts or first contact on ball. It is map by map basis, mainly because sometimes when that timer starts, it's a little inconsistent. So using a point of contact, which would be hitting the ball, that's a great first frame to start on, especially if the timer doesn't spawn the way it's supposed to. And the thing is with in-game time as well, a lot of these timers are outdated. They use some really inconsistent coding methods, I assume. I think Block would be able to explain that a little better too. But a lot of these in-game timers, especially on any of, I think French Fry made all the maps. It's like the trial. No, that was DMC, any DMC map, when it has the end, it has like the green text, like your time was, and then it's like, like 2:59 or something like that. It always defaults to that. It's at least how it seems, and the time is always a couple seconds off. Another reason to use real-time attack and frame timing is, all of us in the mod team, we literally take the first frame on the video. We'll on YouTube, you could use comma and period, go frame left and frame right. We get that first frame. We have a website, YouTube Frame Timer. We will input debug info from that frame, and it'll give us an exact number of the frame. That way we don't have to count frames and do math ourselves. Like, it kind of does all the math for us. But then we just get the last frame, and usually the last frame is right when the pop-up of like, hey, this is your time, or the completed pop-up, whatever, usually shows up. We take that, we put that at the end. Now we have a time with a 3-digit millisecond, which when it comes to people having let's say 2 people had a 2:46 on Speedrings 3. They're not actually exactly the same time. There's some millisecond difference in there. That's where the frame time comes in, and we basically just make sure everything's timed frame number 1 to frame number 40,362 or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a lot of frames.
Yep.
That would be a lot of frames.
Yeah, the funny and sad part about Mizu's run is he literally pauses like 5 seconds in when it's literally just a straightaway. If he had paused before he had started, I troll him about that a lot just because it's so much fun. But
yeah,
that's what you do to your friends.
Yeah, and back on the pause thing, I did try to, I would basically consider pause, quote unquote, time with loads at the start. I realized later on, that's not a really good timing method because it also promotes people to just pause and maybe pause buffer or do something along those lines, which, if those who don't know, I don't think it's as possible to do in Rocket League, but it's possible to do in games like Trackmania, where you would just spam pause to get very quick inputs. So you would pause, hold, unpause, press an input, and then pause, and do that all as fast as possible. So if you needed to make that right turn very, very frame perfectly, you could hold down right, spam your pause, get it paused, and then if you need to hit left immediately, you can just hold left, unpause, keep going. So that's an example of pause buffering. Whereas your in-game time will show oh, you did in 20 seconds, but with all the pause buffers, it would end up being 30, 40 seconds, depending on how long you sat on the pause trying to get that input.
Yeah, I think it's Agent Under Fire or Nightfire, the speedrun, where they were using in-game time, but the timer would always reset to the second. It would be if you paused at 1.6 seconds, the timer would go back to 1. And so if you just paused every 0.9 of a second, you would technically finish the run with an in-game time of 0. And so
I've actually never heard of that.
Yeah, it was one of those it was something like that. I forget exactly, but there was some way to abuse the in-game clock, and so they just banned that method outright because finishing the entire game in 0 seconds, yeah.
We've had a similar example of that with one of our runners on Panic's Air Race. So essentially manipulated the time so that it said 0, and then and then I forgot, I think I timed it to be 2 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. I don't remember. But it actually took him let's just say 3 minutes of real life time to get to the ending to have it trigger to say, hey, you completed this in 0 seconds. And it's but no, you literally ran the whole course. It's not a 0-second time just because the in-game time was glitched. And that could be appropriate for some other games in their categories, but for Rocket League, that's not how we go. We go based off of real-time attack.
Yeah, because I know it's in-game time is used more so on older games, so that way the hardware isn't what's causing you to lose your speed run, because a lot of games while it's loading, it's not keeping track of time. I know that's true in GoldenEye, and so that's why they use in-game time, because that way emulators can not have an advantage over the actual console. Or actually, I think they may have split the categories between emulator and console, but just as an example of why all these technicalities matter in speedruns.
So
Yeah,
funny. Go ahead, Plum.
Oh, I was gonna say that's kind of the main reason why, like, someone will submit a time and they pause, they trying to claim it's like, the time without the pause. I've had someone persistent enough to continuously resubmit the same run over and over with a different time after I've already retimed it, and you can see in the bottom, like, because we throw a little mod message that we retimed it, and it shows like the time that I timed it with. I had a guy just continuously resubmitting the same run over and over. He's like, "Oh, that's not my time. That's not my time." It's like, that's literally your time. That's how we time on the leaderboards.
Yeah, so just having an objective standard, it makes it very easy and clear to decide winners. And when milliseconds matter, it's important.
Yeah, and we have the rules. Every single map you go to, you click View Rules. You have Game Rules, which is like for the whole game, and it's just usually generic. And then you have Category Rules, which basically just tells you what's okay to do and what's not okay to do.
Yeah. So what's probably, I guess, the biggest moment in Rocket League speedrunning so far? Because I know, like, at least for esports, probably like one of the biggest moments is moment 37 at Evo. That's probably the biggest thing I think of when it comes to like esports moments. But what's like the biggest moment so far? Like
AGDQ 2022.
Yes.
So what's the story behind that? Give us that rundown. What was the map? What made it?
Maps. It was a Rocket League showcase on AGDQ with over 90,000 viewers back in January.
Actually, it went up to over 100,000.
Oh wow!
Ooh, wow. So tell us a story. Give us the setup. What was the event? What was the map? What were the stakes? Paint this picture for us.
So basically, we had obviously that we had a set amount of runners all submit a bunch of different runs, and basically, as they submitted them all, they all put in the description, "Hey, this is going to be a showcase. It's going to be a showcase. It's going to be a showcase." Well, finally, they actually accepted it. They're like, "Okay, you know what? Rocket League speedruns. Okay, let's check this out. Let's see see what's going on." I mean, obviously, they have a review process. They look at the run you submitted. They determine, well, you seem real nice and or you seem really genuine. Let's have you on this big stream, because AGDQ is charity marathon with speedrunning as the entertainment. All the money you donated to the great cause, everything else.
And that's Games Done Quick, if I remember correctly.
Games Done Quick. Yes, that would be. You can go like gamesdonequick.com and you can check out their website. They have AGDQ coming up eventually. That will be actually they have frame fatalities going on right now as we're doing this, which is their basically female speedrunner showcase, which is pretty cool. Getting the women.
Then what are we doing here in this podcast? Oh, I got to get over there. I'm just teasing.
But so the Rocket League showcase went like this. It started off with our runner, one of our runners. He at the time had world record. It was for Speed Jump Rings 3. He did a speed run of that. There's no incentives, and incentives are usually like as people donate, they get to see more of what's going on. That's the whole point of the incentive. He ran that at the time. He did have world record with 248.083.
That was Bony Platypus, right?
Yeah, but now the record is all like 246, like a high 246. We have, and I'm looking at it right now, of course, like I have the whole spreadsheet. We had like a Thunder Surge like made this whole spreadsheet, and I helped him kind of color code and everything, making sure everything looks good so we could have a reference to basically look at while the runs were going. We have like little notes jotted down. We could say, that way we can at least have some sort of script or stay on topic and stuff like that. I will say I did end up getting professional commentator Leaf X to run it with me, run over the talking with me. That was a lot of fun working with him. Anytime I mention that, I do see some people asking like, "Oh, how much you pay for that?" I'd like to say I'll disclose I did not pay a cent. It is for charity, and LeafX is a very big supporter of GDQ, so it was just out of the kindness of his heart. Well, thank you, Leaf, for taking that time. I mean, he said he did have a lot of fun with it, so I'm glad he did. Yeah, me and him, we co-commentated that, and then after the Rings 3, we had Jamingo run Dribble Challenge 2. At the time, he had a 6 minute 35-second time. He was about 5th place on the board. So, you know, it's a pretty good placement, especially for such a long map for most, myself included. After that, we had Blocku run Neon Heights rings, the left of your map. Because I know there's like a Future rings, which is by Josh B, I believe. And that's, they look similar, but yeah. Neon Heights rings. I'm sure a lot more people know what that is. Basically, there's a lot of... What made this Rings map a little more exciting and interesting than Rings 3, in my opinion, is the use of a mechanic called a ring bounce, which is basically you can you know how when you're playing a Rings map, right? You're falling, or like you got to go down, and then you end up going too far down. Now you're below the ring. Well, instead of getting below the ring, you just land on the ring and do a pogo, like a freestyle mechanic pogo, off of that ring to get yourself bounced back up and into a you know, it's one of those speedrun mechanics that kind of gets you back into like where you just recover from the pogo and just continue on. Black Goose still does have the world record, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then we had Blocku again. He ran Spaghetti Racing, which is a simple shark map. It is literally a racetrack with 200 checkpoints. You need only 195 of them to complete it. He has a world record for it. He completed it. His record is under 10 minutes. I think it took him a little longer because he did a different route. But what's unique about this too is not only is everything just a jumbled mess, but he has a route and he has backup routes for that route, and he can remember exactly which gates he went through, and he'll know, okay, I already did that one. Let me skip that and go to the next one if he messes up. And it's actually I definitely recommend checking that out.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
just seeing him on stream come together with like 20 different routes, and this is literally 200 gates with a track actually like spaghetti.
Yeah,
It was
imagine a plate
so
of spaghetti,
impressive.
but it's just one continuous line. Like all the spaghetti noodles are connected to each other end to end. Like imagine that. That's literally what the map looked like.
Yeah, it was so talented. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And
So
then
what was the big moment that happened, like leading up to all this? So like you guys are on Games Done Quick, and then this moment happens. Like what was so special about that moment for that time?
we got to showcase our favorite game to a brand new audience. You're able to showcase not only your favorite game, but what you can do in that game and what you do with that game to an audience that doesn't play the game at all, that
So
stuck around to watch it. I mean, of course,
yeah.
there's people that do play it. A lot of them, they're probably, I think a lot of them ended up like, oh, wow, I'm only like gold or I'm only platinum. They're obviously like in the lower end of rankings. They're very, very casual players if they play it at all. So it's like,
Yeah, them seeing what the top level of Rocket League efficiency can look like and all the different mechanics and stuff they're watching.
yeah, especially as far as mechanics go. They did all that, and then actually no. After the spaghetti racing, actually, Panic's Air Race got a showcase, but not just Panic's Air Race. They met a donation incentive that got them to do the hard version of Panic's Air Race that Blocku has made himself.
It's absurd.
It is so you know Panic's Air Race. You've played that map before, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the first air racing map that got popular.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, Blocku, him having like a top 5 time, he's like, I want it to be harder. So he made a Kaizo version of Panic's Air Race, and this kind of plays off of I don't know if you've started seeing Lethamir's Egyptian Tomb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which that is actually Thunder Surge actually came on. He actually ran that map after this. Now, Thunder Surge, with his hundreds of hours put into speedrunning Lethamir's Egyptian Tomb, all onks, 100%, just any percent, all of that, he decided this map's way too easy now. And he made a Kaizo version of that. That did not get showcased, but just an example of like, once these maps become easier, it's like in any other custom community. So like Super Mario 64, for example, you have ROM hacks. Then you have extreme versions of those ROM hacks because the originals were too easy. But then people start making extreme versions of those extreme versions. Funny enough, but I mean, it's the same concept.
Yeah, doesn't
Which
Egyptian Tomb have
there
like
is a
two
Kaizo
Kaizos?
Egyptian. There's a Kaizo of the Kaizo, and I
Yeah.
think there's an even Kaizo version of this Kaizo.
So
So
where did
it
that term come from, Kaizo?
so it I don't know where it originated. I know in the Super Mario 64 community, I've seen it used a lot, as well as like Super Mario World community.
Oh,
Kaizo is basically, in a sense, like it's supposed to mean like it's super hard, it's super, tough and very challenging. We basically just made more challenging versions of the maps.
yeah, I am curious where that term comes from. For me, my introduction to it was Pokemon. There'd
Mhm.
be Kaizo editions of Pokemon. Yeah, that's something I'd have to look into. Is where did that term come from, or is it someone's
Uh,
name? I'm not positive.
so the Japanese word kaizo simply refers to Rom hacking in the gaming industry, since its literal meaning is reorganize, restructure, or reconstruct. But Kaizo Mario World's provenance means that other ROM hacks have used this term to indicate an extreme level of difficulty, such as Kaizo Mario Bros. There we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it literally means ROM hacking. So that's
Yeah,
Pretty extreme.
yeah,
yeah.
but that's what it's supposed to mean. But the American version of it kind of remade it to being more extreme instead of just reconstruction.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, why make a speed run map easier? There's that's what glitches are for.
Exactly.
So, what are y'all's personal favorite maps? If you had to choose one map to speed run for an
Oh,
entire
that's
month, what would it
so
be?
hard.
So Air Dribble Melee I find is the most fun because it is 9 different levels, and it's, I mean, for someone like me who does Air Dribble a lot, it's pretty basic, but also has that challenging consistency to it. But because it's 9 levels, it's not overwhelming. Which this is the map I currently have a world record in, so
Yeah, of course you'd like to speed run that one for a month. What what
yeah.
what,
But
what
I've been running it for a while,
yeah, what about
so
you, Aqua? What's your favorite map to speed run?
I have to go with the classic Dribble Challenge 2. It's the birthplace for me. It's the birth in just my Rocket League experience. It's the birthplace for my mechanics to then get to Grand Champion. Also a birthplace for speedrunning for Rocket League. And it's just when you play it so much and you're in the top 10, it is simplistic in nature, but it is an endurance run, and I would call it a consistency run. And with the recoveries and the different obstacles that you go through, it's basic, but it's teaching you vital mechanics that you need in order to just be a more consistent player on the field when you're playing in a match. And it really just it drives that point home of just being consistent. And so to do it deathless is a very rewarding experience.
So
And yeah, that it's my favorite. It's just me and the ball out in space. And it's not like I'm playing a Kaizo map either. Like you can master it. And I think it's a healthy balance of challenge versus, endurance and just atmosphere.
So, what do you think the overlap between like the freestyle community and the speedrun community is? So, like, is there people that are kind of popular in both or known well in both because of those mechanics they've
so
developed, or
so as far as speedrunning, or not speed, freestylers speedrunning, there's no real overlap. I mean, we have freestyler Impulse, or specific Impulse. He's probably the one of the one of the better freestylers, if not one of the best freestylers out there at the moment. He has a world record of 40 change resets, unscored, and then like other things like very long air dribbles, etc. He does have a lot of speed runs. However, when it comes to air dribble speed runs, I want to give a big shout out to Fancy Duck, as his air dribbling is out of this world. That's his literally what he does. He doesn't do flip resets, musties, anything crazy. He just air dribbles, and right now he has a world record for Lethamir's dribble challenge, the Manscaped one.
Mhm.
He has the record of 2 minutes and 34 seconds, and that is air dribbling from level 0 to level 30. And
And
as you know, there's a lot of death barriers on that map. He literally air dribbled around the depth barriers after looking up where they were.
If you haven't seen it, you have to watch it at some point. It is just too spectacular to be like, this is actually a human doing this.
That's I'm imagining that right now because I know the map you're talking about. That's like I've seen some good air dribbling, but man, that's something.
That's okay. If you've seen the map, the air dribble test, he's completed that in 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, Impulse
He's
has done that
completed,
too.
yeah, and he's completed the Mugzerds air dribble gauntlet in less than 10 minutes. He took over the world record for Eversex's dribble challenge, and he air dribbled the entire map, but actually completed the levels. So instead of skipping levels, he just air dribbled over every obstacle to complete it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So, and then that's the new world record of 6 minutes and 15 seconds, which actually took over Alexit, who has a 6:25. He beat the record by 10 seconds by air dribbling.
Wow. That's insane. Like, because I know how hard that map is too, and one to just complete it is a challenge in and of itself. But then to be able to air dribble that consistently and with that much control and with that speed too, because it's one thing to be able to pop it up and just kind of hold the ball in the air and kind of gently nudge it. That's another to keep control of it at speed.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the most transferable skill that you learn in speed running into, like, I guess,
It
ranked or
depends on what
competitive?
you're speedrunning.
Yeah, it does. It does depend.
Because if you're speedrunning just air dribbling maps, your air dribbles are in game. As long as you put in the time, I would say if you take the time, like after you got really good at the, let's say, air dribble hoops, right? You're beating it in less than you're beating it in about 5 minutes every single time you play it, right? So if you took those air dribbles that you do in there, you go to free play, and you just kind of mess around with air dribbling into the net. You go into casual, you see how you can set it up. It starts to become more of when can I actually use this skill to my advantage in the match. If especially when you're playing like threes and stuff like that, it gets harder and harder to set up that skill that you've learned. Whereas if you learn like dribble challenge, you start getting your flicks down from there, maybe, or you just general ball control. I feel like a regular dribble challenge over air dribble will translate a bit better because keeping the ball grounded is a lot easier than trying to take it in the air. Because the moment that ball goes in the air, 9 times out of 10, you probably have like at least two people trying to contest that.
Yeah, the
You know
air
what
is
I mean?
also much
So
more predictable up until the point you get a
yeah,
flip reset. But and most of the time, you're not getting the space to get a flip reset before you get full
and
fade.
and most of the time you're not going for flip resets in your air dribble speedruns.
Yeah, I think.
So
Yeah, I definitely have gotten some pretty good catching ability. I think I showed you at Worlds the just how
yeah,
often I can get the glue on catches. That's the one thing that I think surprises most people at my rank is they're like, oh wait, that, does he have spikes? It's like, no, I just have good car control.
yeah,
For my opinion on what is transferable, I think part of the goal is being creative, and you don't have to be like an inventor, but being creative with how can I use this level to learn and teach myself something. So, for example, like I remember doing the dribble challenge too with ball cam on. I can dribble with ball cam on now, and that gives me much further information on the field to know when the opponent's challenging to then flick. So, like, and that's tricky to learn, but I think you can, with the whole variety of workshop maps, I would just say in general, I wouldn't necessarily pick like I could say that dribble challenges because obviously when you play matches in ranked, there's a ball. So learning how to handle, dribbling the ball and getting flicks and all that stuff is obviously important, but also flight control like rings maps could be really good. Just for, let me fly upside down for this section. Let me fly pivoted 90 degrees at this section when your controls are like up and down is now left and right is now up and down and it gets confusing. You can just spend that time in a low pressure environment and learn. And so I think you can really, learn whatever you need to do if you just enter workshops, and then you can learn even more advanced, faster, and consistent methods by speedrunning it, which in turn can lead to faster, more consistent outplays in a match. And I think whatever you want to apply your mind, whatever training you want to do for your matches, there's a workshop map out there that will give you the tool to master that. And that's what I think motivates a lot of people to do the speed running, is that it's yes, we love the speed running, but it's more than that. You're also gaining in-game, like, transferable experience with that. And that's why some people have different favorite maps, because maybe they like to, do air dribbles more in games and do more aerial stuff. I'm a more grounded player, so I will do dribble challenge stuff. And it's just basically transferable across the board. If you have the intention going into it to get better, you'll find a way to get it better. You have all the tools right there. And so
Nice.
that's how I would describe that's how I would describe that.
Yeah. So basically, playing the game more makes you better at the game. And that's what you guys are saying.
Oh my gosh, absurd.
I know. It's almost like practice helps or something. So if somebody's wanting to get into speedrunning, where do you think they should start?
Someone please take down my free play world records. Also, you'll learn where the boost pads are and how to manage your boost. And honestly, I would love to see you get better as a player, more so than taking down my world record, but I want someone to beat me. But yeah, I definitely think it's huge for the reasons I stated earlier, to actually learn how to move about the field. And that doesn't require you downloading anything external through Bacchus mod or any workshop maps. It's literally just boot up the game, open up OBS, press record, and figure it out. And it's that simple and accessible. So that's my answer on that.
Yeah, work on those one wheel. I think they're called J turns is their official name, where you land on one wheel and spin around in one direction but keep your momentum.
I don't do that, but that sounds interesting.
Yeah, well, I just gave away the secret on how to take away his speed run. So somebody use that and go after it. Whoa. What about you, Plum? What map or what do you think people should do if they're wanting to get into speedrunning?
I feel like a very basic standard to do is actually Speedrun Rings 3. It's a very good beginner map. It's not the hardest thing, and it's also has a pretty good skill gap in it that it's like. So I'll put it into perspective here. On Rings 3, the world record is 2 minutes 46 seconds .833, whereas last place, that doesn't look trolled, is 5 minutes and 38 seconds at 113. So out of 113 players, there's a good almost 3-minute gap. Your average players will complete it in around 4 minutes, with the next big average being like 3.5 minutes. Once you start getting a little better at it, anyway. And then from there, obviously, is where you start. The more you play it, you're playing for improvements at that point, and you're just getting better at the rings map. It's a short map, 3 to 5 minute speed run, depending on how good you are at it. It can take you maybe up to 10 minutes, but if you are, if you really wanted to, you could record your very first attempt of completing the map. Let's say it took you 25 minutes. If you want to submit that, that video, I'll look it over and I'll go ahead and I'll verify it or whatever. Just note that if you do pause, I will include that in the full time.
Yeah, Mizu. Don't pause 5 seconds after you start a world record breaking run.
Yeah, that's very true. But
sorry, I'm gonna troll him every chance I get about that. That's what you do to friends.
Yeah, if somebody wants to submit their 25-minute run, then they'll come back. The next day submit a 15-minute run because they did a lot better. Next day come back, now it's already down to 5 minutes. That's What's cool is on this website, it'll track every single time you do. So if day 1 you're 25 minutes, day 2 you're at 15 minutes, because now you've learned the map a little more. You can go back, and when you start getting into the low 3-minute area, you can like kind of look back and on your profile, and you can kind of show obsolete runs. I think it's what it's called.
Yeah.
And you can basically just kind of look back, be like, wow. Like for example, on Air Dribble Melee, my first time I submitted was 1 minute 50 seconds. And now I'm at 1 minute 30 seconds. It's like, wow, I'd saved 20 seconds from the last time I played the map. Whereas if I find like a slower run, which when I used to speedrun Tony Hawk's Underground 2, I had a lot of runs where it's like I had a time of like 23:14 for classic all goals. I can look back and I can see 23:03, 22:40, 21:48, 21:13, 21:06. I can just see my progression over time. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
Like
so do you
that
guys speedrun any
2051.
other games, or do you guys just speedrun Rocket League?
I'll let you go first because I got a lot.
Actually, yeah, how do I answer that? I would say just Rocket League for me personally. Yeah, I think there's so many creative workshop maps out there. I would say if I still had a working Wii, I would definitely download CTGP, and I would be time trialing everything. I just love the concept of racing and just going to the limits and trying to break them. But yeah, I would say currently it's just Rocket League.
The very first game I speedrun was probably the Stanley Parable, and you're probably wondering how do you speedrun that? We just made stuff up and basically was like, yeah, so we're just gonna do make up a category. It's gonna be called 12 endings. You just get these specific 12 endings, and that's your time. And it was very linear. There's still a pretty big community around it, especially with the Ultra Deluxe being out. There's a lot more activity going on. There's a lot more than I thought would be going on today compared to when I managed that page back in like 2015, 2014. I went from there. I started to get into Dark Souls speedrunning. I wish I kept with it because I could have gotten a better time than I have now, which was I ran on Xbox 360, so I had the slowest load times. And I'm currently the very last place in this one specific category with a 2-hour time of beating the game, which compared to most casual players, that's insane. But for speedrunning, that is very slow. From there, I just kind of tried to get little speedruns on the side, like the game's Potato Man Seeks the Truth. And there's a game called Please Don't Touch Anything. And then there was a game called Grapple.
So
That was pretty fun.
Plumato, so
Yeah,
you have speed ran all of these games, not just like have been a viewer and been keeping track of those games.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then the games that I really got into were Tony Hawk games, mainly Tony Hawk's Underground 2. I got into Tony Hawk's American Wasteland a little bit, but it just wasn't as fun as Underground 2. And that Tony Hawk's Underground 2 is what I speedrun for the longest time. I started in like 2014 ish, and I speedrun it all the way till like 2020. Around that time, I kind of wanted to put more time into Rocket League. Actually, I think around 2019, I wanted to put more time into Rocket League, and that was the first season. Grand Champ was season 9 in February 2019. So I kind of slowed down my speedrunning to play more Rocket League. But when I did run Tony Hawk's Underground 2, I used to be one of the best classic mode all goals speedrunners until other players that were actually good at the game played it and beat my time by 3 minutes and crushed all my hopes and dreams. And anyway,
Yeah, the only game I've ever speedran was Elder Scrolls Morrowind. And
sub 19 minute.
that's I think the record is like 8 minutes. I think I got it in like 12. I just tried it for fun, just to see it, because that was one of my favorite games growing up. Still one of my favorite stories in games in general. But it was just when I first saw one of the speed runs on a Games Done Quick, because I forget which. I think it was the time they did the what was the knockout blindfolded speed run.
Right.
I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but the old classic arcade game.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
I was just like, I saw that, and then I just went on a speed running binge of just like, wow, this is incredible. And I came across the Morrowind one. I was like, I'll try that because I still play that game for some reason, even though it's like D&D and you miss swinging your sword every 8 times. But yeah, just like real life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say for me, I definitely am a speedrun enthusiast. Like, I've watched ZFG back when he had like 30 viewers, and now he's pulling in 3K on stream consistently. And like Pikmin, Super Mario Sunshine,
Mhm.
even Majora's Mask, like Wind Waker, obviously like Link is 7, and I've been following Virtual and Trackmania. It's just I love soaking in all of that content. Um, but yeah, for actual running, just Rocket League. But yeah, like speed running is just there's just some appeal about it, and it's just so awesome to watch as a spectator, and to also do it for yourself is just it's an experience. And I would recommend if anybody hasn't tried speedrunning, I mean Rocket League is friendly. There are maps out there like Tomato was saying with Rings 3. You can master them obviously. But they are friendly enough to just get into, and to see your name on a leaderboard and be showing it off to your friends and being like, "Hey, let's do this friendly competition." Just like you had K-Dop and Alexit, the 2 French guys, having the competition on Dribble Challenge 2, for like 2 months was just so entertaining to see. And we've also had Draco host a challenge on his version, so kind of like a Kaizo version of Lethamir's Neon Heights. And it came down to the literal minute. We were watching Blocku on stream. It's like a 10-minute speed run, so it's just so endurance. And he was like, getting a couple fails and was frustrated, and he had to start the run. He had like 12 minutes left until the end of the deadline, and he does a run, and he goes all the way to the end and is 1 second behind. And it was just, and Calcor, who was the one who, or was it Calcor?
No, it was someone named
Kostin.
Kostin. Yeah.
Kostin RL, yes. And he got the world record like maybe an hour or two before that, as they were both just going back and forth, and they were in a call together. And it was for me one of my most personal, like epic moments that I've seen for a speedrunning competition in Rocket League. And this is all happening while people are just, playing ranked and getting, triggered and raging at ranked. Is just come on over to speedruns and just enjoy a map with a couple of your friends, and challenge yourself with each other. And I think it's a really good, healthy alternative to the self-toxic and also the toxic at your teammates. Just the whole everyone sucks. Like Sunless Khan would say. It's just take a step back for a second, see the bigger picture. There's more options out there for you.
Yeah, and then by the time you get a speed run and you go back into rank, you're gonna be like, how was I not carrying these people before?
Yeah, you improve when you really
Yeah.
focus on yourself, and it shows. It transfers for sure.
Also, I do want to mention, if anyone watches this and they recognize my name and go, "Didn't you do stuff with Guitar Hero?" Yes, yes, I did. I did the Guitar Hero tutorial. That's me. I'm the guy.
We went to Worlds together here in Texas. It was like 9 of us at a B&B. He brought his Guitar Hero guitar.
So, Cam brought or he had a guitar at his house, and he brought it over. He said, "I
Okay.
want to see you play," and I'm like, "Okay."
Dude, man was shredding. Plamedo, you're the GOAT at Guitar Hero. Oh my goodness. I have like
That's
that
not my
that
party trick.
to see that live was
Did you do
just
Through the Fire and Flames?
I did better than that because there's harder songs out there that are better.
oh
Ooh.
man. Yeah, he's good. He was shredding.
Yeah, I remember playing guitar in or Guitar Hero 3 while I was learning guitar for real. And I was just like, it messed up my picking so bad on real guitar.
Yeah, because
Like,
it's
'cause
like
it's just like all
there's no
elbow
strum
on.
bar on a real guitar, right?
Yeah, it's just like, but it's just like, yeah, that was the hardest thing to unlearn playing Guitar Hero. Was just like my strumming got really good, but my picking just disappeared when I got really into Guitar Hero.
No, for sure. Like Guitar Hero, I mean that stuck with me for a long time. I don't play it much anymore. I don't do anything with it much anymore, just because it's
It's kind of hard to
the
speedrun a game with set times, you know?
the thing is, I won't go into it too much, but the Guitar Hero community as a whole pretty much fell off. Everybody's kind of their own clique. Everything, there's bad things going on that I don't want to get into because there's just drama all over the place. I'm just glad I am no longer in that community and active. I do still have friends in the community. I still talk to them, but if anybody wants to play, just play in your own little group because you don't want to join the community. And I hate to say that about the community, but that is the current state. Join the Speedrun Rockaby community. We are very nice. There's no drama. No one's getting mad at each other. It's just everybody's chill. Everybody's speedrunning. Everybody's happy.
Except Gemini, we have like this little rivalry. We're like best friends, so it's totally good. But we'll poke and prod at each other, and I think that's also a beauty about the competition. It's
Uh,
respectful,
it's
but
healthy
it's
competition. Healthy banter,
oh
healthy
yeah.
competition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, if people are looking for getting into speedrun, where do they find the site? Where do they find the Discord?
You type in speedrun.com/RL, and that's going to take you to what is called a series page. The series page is going to have everything. We don't touch anything to do with supersonic, acrobatic, rocket power battle cars. While that is on there, this guy named Crash Ratchet 008, he still gets on the website every now and again, but he's pretty much the only one that did anything regarding speedruns of that game. I could probably get him to pass along permissions just so I can, but because I'm more active. But yeah, that one, yeah, we don't really touch it. It's just in the series. But everything that first thing you see is Rocket League, and they see Obstacle Course 1, Dribble Challenge 1.2, instead of just 1. Wall, Jet Car Stunts. It just goes in order of when each map came out. And if you're looking for a specific map, you don't want to look through everything, and you know, oh, Rings 3. If you type the word Rings and then put a 3, you'll see Games, Speed Jump, Rings 3 right there, and you can just jump right to that leaderboard. And additionally, as far as the Discord goes, when you're on that series page, if you look at the top and you see the word follow, which that just follows the game onto your account. Anytime a run is posted for the series, it'll basically kind of give you a ping on not like an email or anything, just like whenever you visit the site, you'll just see notification that happened at the game. But underneath the word follow, you'll see like a little Discord icon. You can click that, and on every single map, you can always find that same little Discord icon under the follow button at the top. Not at the very top, it's just like you'll see like the name. So like I see Obstacle Course 1 2016. If I follow that to the right of the box, I see a little Discord icon. If I click that, it would bring me right to the community. And I believe we can do discord.me/RL Speedruns. Yeah, discord.me/RL Speedrun solo, like one word.
Well, hey, before we end the episode, is there anything fun or related to speedrunning Rocket League you'd like to go over?
You got anything, Aqua? If not, then I will hint to something coming.
Cars go fast. What's not fun about that?
Nice. So I take it there's something coming up, Flamingo?
Yeah, it's been in the works for a bit. You saw the map, The Path, right?
Yes.
There's going to be a speedrun contest based around it. Details soon to come. Make sure, I believe, you obviously join the speedrun Discord. We'll post about it in there, of course, but we have like community workshop games helping with it. That Discord community and the Rocket League map making community helping out with it, because there's a lot of fun challenges in store for that for all kinds of ranks. If you're a diamond or a platinum, you don't have the best ball control. Well, guess what? We have a category that is going to be for you. And then obviously, we'll have the full map speed runs, like, for the higher ranked and the ones that can take on the gauntlet. But we have a lot of things stored in the future of speedrunning and contests regarding it. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe there might be a nice little chunk of change additional to it. No exact details on that yet, but we'll we'll see how that rolls out.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, you guys. Everyone, check out the links in the description. I'm going to include everything so that way you can just click on it and go wherever you want to go. Just make sure you do it in less than 3 seconds, because that's the speed run from hearing this and clicking on the link.
I already clicked on it. I got world record.
All right, so
The video
you have to
hasn't
do,
even come out yet.
My page was
Yes.
actually loaded before he even
Yeah.
announced it.
Ah, damn.
I used a wrong warp, and I ended up to the page before he said it.
Oh man, speedrunning jokes. That was good. That was good. But yeah, definitely check out the links. Yeah, obviously you're not going to be able to get a speed run for that, but honestly, if you guys want to record yourselves doing that and make a meme out of this, it would be so much fun.
You could still submit, like, you can still submit it. We'll see it. Well, it just won't go on a leaderboard, but if you wanted to make a little nod to that, that would be fun.
Yeah, but what you can do is speedrun clicking the like and subscribe button. That's the most important thing. Well, hey, this has been fun, you guys. Like I said, everybody, check out the links down below and enjoy some speedrunning.